Up next is our exciting keynote. I know many of you have been looking forward to this for some time. How to get comfortable with the wet cement, presented by Kruse. Carol is a seasoned entrepreneur who experienced everything from going public, then filing Chapter 11, to failing to get a Series C round of venture funding, to co-founding a company that was bought by the Coca-Cola company after 2.5 years. With experience as the head of global digital marketing at Coca-Cola and CMO at ESPN and Cambia Health, she's had success across multiple industries. She specializes in consumer insights, experience design, and leveraging data and technology to enhance customer engagement and drive value for businesses. Carol was named number 27 on Fast Company's annual Top 100 Most Creative People in Business. She was awarded AdTech's Industry Achievement Award for pioneering contribution in digital marketing. She has won an Emmy and has been a recipient of the Media Post All-Star Award. She serves on the board of directors for Valvoline Inc. and is a venture partner with the Oregon Venture Fund. Please help me welcome to the stage, Carol.
You know, that was quite an introduction. I kind of forgot half that stuff. But if you're nice and you want to see the Emmy, you can come over to our house. There you go. How many of you are first time at an EDCO event? Oh, good. Me too. Did you not all have to speak first before you ever went to an event? Oh. Well, I didn't. I met Brian at BBC, and he's like, "You want to speak at EDCO?" And I said, "Sure." So I'm sure I'll meet a lot of great people. So I have had a pretty diverse career, as it seems. And there's a clicker somewhere here. Here we go. Top button. Okay. So like a lot of people here, it seems, I have worked at a mix of big companies and startups. And so I did start my career at Clorox in laundry and home cleaning. So I can help you with any of your laundry or home cleaning needs. And I'm not kidding. Really, I got some great hacks. But I was in Silicon Valley, you know, the lure of Silicon Valley. It was really frothy, cool days. So I did 3 startups. And in the introduction, you heard, you know, one went bust. We didn't get our funding. In 3.5 years, it was a thrill of victory, the agony of defeat. We went public and we filed Chapter 11. Learned more than I ever have in my life since. And the third, I co-founded with the head of engineering at that prior company. And within 2.5 years, we got bought by Coca-Cola. That's cool. Now, I still worked. So I think that would tell you that it was not one of these crazy acquisitions, but what it did allow me is an incredible career. And what Coca-Cola really valued is that I understood transformation. I understood how to be an entrepreneur. And I understood innovation. And Coca-Cola really valued those skills. And what I focused on is, how do you make that kind of transformation in a big company? It's in some ways easier than in a startup, of course, but in some ways not necessarily. So I did the same at Coca-Cola. And then people are like, how the hell did you go to ESPN as chief marketing officer? And then in healthcare, did you do something wrong to get into healthcare? Because what happened in your career? It's called quality of life move to Oregon. But how do you do that? Those are completely different industries. And I said, you know, the skill set is the same. The marketing skill set is the same. But more importantly, as a transformation CMO, chief marketing officer, as I was pegged, the skill set's the same. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. And so whether you are in a small company, a professional services company, a startup, or a big company, I hope what I'm going to share with you applies to all of you. I'm going to talk, I think it's like 15, 20 minutes, and then you can ask questions. And please, someone ask a question. It's so embarrassing if you don't. Okay, thanks. Okay. Here we go. And it's not moving. Okay. Show of hands, and the light is blinding, so I can't see super well. Raise your hands and be honest. Are you comfortable being in the wet cement?
What does that mean?
Wet cement, the unknown, the unsure. It's murky. It's messy. You're not sure the path. There is no process. You might start a project. Okay. Wow. That's a third of you to 2/3. Usually it's about a third because it's not comfortable. It's not easy, right? A lot of people are not comfortable with the unknown, the unsure, the undefined. I personally love it. In fact, I was talking with someone who, I don't know if you're in here. If you're old enough and you remember, there we go. Is it Jeff? Martin, damn, I'm so bad with names. Okay, if you're old enough and you remember a stereo, you had the big tuning knob and then the fine tuning. Okay, good. I like this audience. I am the big tuning. When it comes to small tuning, I am not your gal. That's not my strength. But I really love the wet cement. And so whether you're in a big company or a small company, transformation is really important, right? If you don't change and evolve, especially in these days, you're in big trouble, right? And so how do you get comfortable with that? And how many of you would say that you've worked on a team and you're trying to help transform your company? And some people are like, nope, nope, nope. Usually legal and finance, but there might be other people. So how many of you worked on a cross-functional team where some people are like, yeah, let's change the world, and other people are like, nope. Yeah, everyone, just about. Now, I don't want to harsh on legal and I don't want to harsh on finance because I like to stay out of jail and I want to make profitable businesses, right? But what you have to recognize is there's goodness in that mix of people. So some people, if you like the wet cement, like the ambiguity, you like the unknown, maybe you are more open-minded about change, and the words we've always done it this way never crosses your lips. It's tough because when you're a startup, you can't change everything all the time, right? You have to figure out, or a small company, what would make the business more valuable, what would bring you more revenue, more profits, hold on to employees if you change things. So if you're in that situation, think about that. Most people are not changing or starting a new product line or a new way of doing business by themselves. So again, you might be comfortable with this. Not everyone will be. If, by the way, you don't like change and your boss says, hey, Phil, you need to go come up with a new product that's not a line extension, but a brand new product category, and you don't like that, you better find people who do, right? I mean, that's really important. So a team with a good mix of styles is so much better. So one of the problems, and as I said, I'm with Oregon Venture Fund, a lot of startups fail because everyone wants to be an entrepreneur and no one wants to do the boring work of setting up things in a foundation that lets you grow and succeed. You need those people on your team. The other is, so I did a lot of cross-functional team meetings at big companies. They had stages and gates. There was a whole process you needed to follow. That tended to kind of put a damper, right, on the innovative thinking. But your job, if you're in there, or if you're not that person, you want to make sure that team has those people, is to encourage people to think differently. So if you can get a cross-functional team to say, let's figure out how to make this work. You know that people always say no, the stinking thinking, they're like, we can't do that, we can't do that. Again, no offense, it tends to be maybe legal. It's because they're trying to keep us out of jail. But what if you can say, we can figure this out? How can we do this? And if I encourage the people who like change to try to lead the team somewhat and say, look, we're not going to talk about all the reasons we can't. Let's talk about the reasons we can. What can we do? Get up on a whiteboard. Okay, what can't we do? What can we do? All right, let's look at what can't we do. Why can't we do it? Well, we've never done it that way. Who cares? Maybe we can, right? If you kind of check some of those boxes off and understand How can we? What might we do? That is a huge piece of this. The other is, have you guys heard of USP, your unique selling proposition? All right, not very many people. USP? No. So it's a thing. So what makes you unique? When you say, hi, I'm Carol, I can say, hi, I'm Carol. I like the wet cement. I love when it's messy and no one knows. And I read so many different things. And actually, Brad and I used to work together, and he's the one who told me about this. We would be in a cross-functional meeting, and people would be talking and this and this and this and this. So my unique selling proposition is I can take all kinds of disparate information and I listen to it for, 45 minutes of the meeting. And then I'm like, I kind of bring it together. All right. So, nope, I'm not there yet. Well, I'll leave it there. But that is my USP, the ability to take a myriad of people's information, what they want, everything, and lock it in. Now that's my USP. But again, I'm the big tuning knob, so I need people who are going to help me figure out how we can do that. But think about that. What do you bring to the table? What do you uniquely have? And then make sure in your company, on your team, if you want to hire someone from the outside, what are they going to bring that's going to complement what you can do? All right. Okay, so next is, so we've all been there. You guys, you got to read the room, right? So in anything in life, right? Who's bought in and who isn't, right? You know that. Sorry, I got to go back one. Can I go back one slide? Maybe. Back one. There we go. Sorry, I did that already. So that's what you need to figure that out. So if you have a disruptive mindset, which I do, you have to figure out timing. So if you're a startup, you have to figure out what's the most important. Sometimes you have a great idea, but the timing isn't right, right? Sometimes the team is over talking stuff. Okay, that is Carol's personal hell, is people who, and my theme song frequently is that Elvis song, a little less conversation, a little more action. Okay, that is my theme song because people talk, 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 talk. And people in Oregon are really polite and they let everyone talk and everyone talk and everyone talk. And I'm like, so it was a big adjustment coming from, say, New York, ESPN to Portland. So again, how do you manage that, right? How can you handle that? Because you can't do that. So if you want to be a bit of a disruptor and make change, you have to actually I hate to say that, but you have to manage that. Because there are people who will always take you off track. You have to run your meeting, put times on it. Literally put times. Another one at Coca-Cola, and especially if it was an important meeting, it was not fun. Monday morning stand-ups or daily stand-ups in one of the top execs' offices. It was like the Four Seasons up there. And it was these beautiful offices. No chairs in his conference room. Don't get comfortable. Stand up. Accountability every morning. Holy shit, right? I am going to make sure. So frequently, though, I have done whatever day of the week. Monday's not usually good, but like a Tuesday morning, and I call them stand-ups because when people sit down, they get comfortable. Just stand up and you go through. Okay, Pam, what were you supposed to do? What's the update? Jeff, what were you supposed to do? What's the update, right? Do that. And all of a sudden, that accountability, incredible. Because no one, again, you're not comfortable because you're not sitting. No one wants to stand there and go, oh, shit, I don't do anything because my boss, blah, 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 blah. No, what do you get done? And when the frequency depends on the timeline of your project, right? So think about that because no one likes to show up with a group of their peers and their colleagues and say they didn't do anything. That's the positive side of peer pressure, right? The other thing is I'm a huge fan of fail early, fail fast, fail forward. So if you know anything about human-centered design, anyone have heard that expression? A couple people. So one of the keys is don't come out with your best prototype. Don't start with your best idea. You can have really kind of half-baked ideas and you put them in front of consumers or customers and you see what they say. That's so valuable because if you go through a whole cycle and get to a beta product, even an alpha product or a new service offering, and you haven't gotten it in front of people to figure out what they think, you've wasted a ton of time and money. And I'm talking low fidelity prototypes. It can be, I'm not kidding, a piece of paper and you draw something out. It could be a really rough demo, not a great demo, because people can imagine what it's going to be and you're going to get incredible information, right? You have a new marketing program or campaign, you have a new legal service operation. Again, don't bake it. Let people know you're working on a new idea and you want their feedback. And they are so brutally honest, it's great. You can't do it internally. You have to go externally. Because externally, they'll be really brutally honest. And they are proud that you asked for their opinion. So think about that. Low fidelity prototyping. Learn, do it again, adjust, adjust. That's the concept of human-centered design is what it says. You're talking to humans and encouraging them. Shame on you if you ever put a product to launch. And don't wait till it's done and do some focus groups. Too late, same thing. Does that make sense? Yeah, and sometimes people are like, but we can't put something that's just that rough in front of people. I'm like, well, when it's really rough, everyone knows it doesn't represent your company. It's an idea. When it's really kind of shiny, then they think, oh, it's almost done. When it's early, you get the best. So I'll tell you, sometimes it's not changing big deals. Sometimes it's your method of distribution. Sometimes it's your go-to-market strategy. One thing at Clorox, and again, I was really glamorous on laundry and home cleaning, I repalletized product. You know, to pallet. Do you guys go to Costco, Sam's Club, whatever? Oh yeah, Home Depot. I repalletized the product, cleaning product. I repalletized it, and all of a sudden we got end aisle displays and we got all this activity. Okay, I was 28, and all of a sudden our sales in all the big stores, Walmart, et cetera, because I changed how it was put on a pallet and I put more products on it. And I made sure they all faced forward. This is little stuff, brought in big boy money. So it doesn't have to be wholesale, right? Just think about those little things. Because when you get your palette set with manufacturing, no one wants to look at that again. But you should, right? You should. All right, next. Oh, by the way, that Mark Cuban quote, what makes an idea good? Having paying customers. Yeah, that's brilliant. You don't always know that, but try to figure it out first. Okay? Okay, so how to get shit done. I knew I couldn't put that on a slide. So I've been talking a lot about that. How do you transform? How do you innovate? How do you do it in different size companies? So first of all, do you know how to read the room? Like, actually, I'm thrilled because almost no one is on their phone right now. That's a good sign. Good. And if you swear, it helps when you're public speaking. Always people look up. Okay, so there's a little tidbit of information. So how do you get shit done? Everyone looks. Yes, see? Look at that. But do you read the room? Because when people aren't interested, they look at their phones or their computer. When people don't answer. So you know what your job is? Call on people. Bob, I haven't heard from you. What do you think about this? You know, Kelly, you sound like you're interested. So tell me a little bit more about how you think that might work. Just if you run meetings and you ask people questions, that's good because then you start hearing. And there's always the 3 people who won't talk. And so you always have to call on those people because frequently those people might be in key areas that down the line, you don't want to find out that they're not going to be able to package your product or they're not going to be able to get the P&L to work on that product, et cetera. Those are the folks who are so key to get their input early on. The other is things that I love. So in your businesses, how many of you have like customer service or you get customer feedback? Anyone? Email, phone, both? Okay. There is gold in those hills. I'm telling you. And in healthcare, they're like, well, it's PII is personally identifiable information. It's PII. You can't touch the customer service data. I'm like, I don't care who said it. Scrape the data, the text, scrape the audio, convert it to text, use machine learning, and wow, did we get incredible insights. Amazing. Amazing. I'm on the board of Valvoline. I'm like, are you guys? Blah, blah, blah. They're like, oh no, that's great. Because everyone thinks I don't want to tie it to human. Don't need to. Because now, you know the feedback generally is going to be bad because no one calls customer service to say, I love this. But so helpful because you are getting what they are saying or writing. So good ML can read your tone and tenor, right? They're happy, they're sad, they're mad. That is a really great way to get things done because no one can complain. When you have a recommendation, you say, our customers have told us this is the process. They're like, oh my gosh, what else did you learn? Right? So that's one really good one. If you have a direct sales force, you're lucky. I know some companies don't feel that way. They know your customer. They have the best insights. And when they say, well, John's tow company said blah, 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 don't go, tell me more, tell me more, tell me more. Your direct sales company or your reps, they have great insights. And then the last one is, so as I got more senior, you can't go to all the meetings. There's way too many meetings. But guess what? One is you still need to know the details of what's going on. The other is, so at ESPN, we had an agency, one of the great agencies, perhaps based in Portland, great creative agency. And I would show up at meetings and they're like, what are you doing here? I'm like, well, I want to see what's going on. Because if you wait until you're going to tell me what the Monday Night Football marketing plan is, and I hate it, it's too late. I can't change. So I'm going to come in early. And I came in early to a meeting, and there were like 15 agency people. Every person has $1 on their head because I'm paying for them by hour. And I was, after the meeting, I'm like, who the hell are all these people? Why are they all here? I'm paying hourly rate. Well, we want the junior people to learn, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, not on my dime. Not on my dime. Because there were 15 people and only 3 spoke. And only 1 was taking notes. So I don't know who everyone else is. If you want them to learn, great, not on my nickel. But you need, if you're more senior, to get in early. Because otherwise, people are pissed or you lose a lot of time and money saying no too late. How many of you have ever been in that situation where you're realizing, yeah, you know what? I should have gotten more involved. I should have stayed and understood the details earlier. And frankly, my personal favorite is at ESPN, they just send like the senior directors and VPs to meet with them. I'm like, where's the rest of the team? They're like, oh, well, usually just the VPs and senior directors meet with the CMO. I'm like, not anymore. I want everyone in the meeting because I want to learn from everyone and I want them to all hear what we're talking about. So that's the other thing is I encourage you to bring your junior people. And by the way, if you ask their question, that's good too, because guess what? They have a different point of view than you do now because you've done your job for a long time. So encourage that. And don't, shit on their answer, say, I'll take that under consideration. That's really interesting. So those are some of my thoughts about how to get things done. Because when you bring the more junior people in or the folks in the field or whatever, and they have their voice heard, when you're now trying to execute stuff, they're part of the process. They're more bought in, right? And you're a better manager. Okay, so that's really all I was going to talk about transformation, how to get things done, how to innovate within all size companies. And so now I think we have a few minutes.
Well, first, let's have a round of applause for Carol Kruse. That was incredible. You gave us a lot of big ideas, but a lot of little small nuggets on how to improve just like day-to-day stuff. So thank you for this. It was really like chock full.
You're welcome.
My first question is, on behalf of Team EDCO, will you sit on the EDCO board, Carol? That's not my question to ask. Okay.
You should talk to me about it.
Okay, I want to start off a question. What's been your favorite project that you've worked on?
Ever?
Yes.
So at Rocket Cash, which is the company I started, we let, this is before PayPal, and I heard the PayPal guys trying to hatch their project in a coffee place in Mountain View. But anyway, we were so far ahead of them. We let people shop online without a credit card. Back in the day, think Amazon only sold books, so way back machine. Some of you have no idea what I'm talking about. That's cool too. You could only shop online if you had a credit card, not a debit card, a credit card. And so that was what we did. We let people shop online without a credit card. You opened a Rocket Cash account, and your grandma put in money for your birthday, and you put your savings in or whatever. And we had about the top 100 e-commerce sites. Okay, great. Just think before PayPal. Well, Coca-Cola wanted to put codes under a cap of Sprite and get online cash to go shopping. All right? They called me. It was 6:30 in the morning. I had early, they're in Atlanta. I was in Mountain View. I had the early shift. And they're like, will you license us our technology? I said, no, but what are you trying to do? Well, we're going to do this thing with AOL, blah, 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 blah. I said, oh, they called me last week. I told them no. But you know what? I can do your project for you, and you don't need AOL. So I did the whole big Sprite Rocket Cash. I did the same thing with all the Nestle candy and confection brands. Then brand Coke wanted to do music downloads. Remember, some people actually paid for those. Crazy. I didn't, but then I had to once I was Coca-Cola, but I didn't because I, got it other ways. Well, when brand Coke, because we were on a billion Sprite packages. Drink Sprite, get Rocket Cash, buy what you want online. When you're going to be on brand Coke, you're going to be on 10, 15 billion packages. And I said, I'm a little startup. We're going for our Series B. I'm not sure you want that risk. And so they did buy us. Thank goodness. So that is my favorite.
That's a good one. I remember that.
Good.
I know. Good.
You remember Amazon? You remember Amazon only sold books? Then.
Yes, I do. I remember Amazon books. I remember when PayPal first started, and it was a little bit clunky.
It was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was actually creepy. It was a little scary. Okay,
Yeah.
Questions for Carol. Yes, right here. And I'm going to repeat the question after you say it so our streamers can hear.
So you like to work on wet cement. Generally, marketing gets the sidewalk when it's already set.
Okay.
You get to scribble your name. How did you work your way upstream to prove to people, hey, I should have a voice when it is still composable?
This is interesting. So he's asking, this is a charming question, really, all things considered. But he's asking, like, how did you get in on the process earlier in terms of marketing so that you could have the chance to make an impact and give feedback and change things around?
You're right. And that is more pronounced in B2B, business to business, than business to consumer. Because what you need to do is your best friend better be the product people. So in my startups, I was head of product, and then I became head of marketing. And so what I always did, I was best friends with the product people. But when you have all the data, say from the customer service and your right, what do you bring to the table early on to help influence that, right? So if marketing should frequently have market research or data and insights, that should be in marketing. So once you've got that, or you're communicating with your customers, or you know your direct sales force, when you have those insights, they want you early on. That's the easy, not the easy answer. And that at that point, it's not really about marketing. You might say that's a benefit that you think is important. Let's research a little bit because I don't think that's important. But again, those really rapid prototypes, lo-fi prototypes to get some insights, that also can help you get in earlier.
Yeah. If you're Carol, you come in guns blazing, you just kick the door open and you start the meeting. Is it like that? Do you kick the door open?
I try to style flex some. It's not my strength.
I'm impressed.
I'm sorry, I don't know what you're doing. Could
That's
you please
right.
tell me? That's another way to do it. It's not mine, but it's another way to. I try to come in with like something of value for them. And maybe it could be a beer after work or something, you know.
Ugh, I just really want to see you in action, Carol, I gotta say. Okay, how about another question for Carol? Right here.
You had mentioned you had gone public and then very quickly filed for Chapter 11.
Yeah.
Can you share a lesson learned and maybe how you had success later in life from that?
Yeah.
Sure.
This is a great question. So he's saying you went public and then you very shortly after that filed for Chapter 11. Can you share a life lesson and that helped you had success later on?
So when you are still at a point in your life where you're largely living paycheck to paycheck, that helps because maybe you have a house payment even in there or kids. Okay, then you just have to put your big boy or big girl pants on and buckle up and go. That said, right? I mean, I couldn't cry over that spilt milk, but let me tell you what we did not think about. Our Taiwanese supplier was making, this was all digital imaging when you know, remember we used to go take film, some of you, and you got like prints, and you were deciding like, do you want matte or glossy? You want double prints or single? You've just paid a fortune for the film. You go to Costco because at least you can afford to get it printed, and then like 75% of them are shit. Remember that day? Yeah. So digital imaging was a really good thing. We had these photo scanners and software to tell people. Our whole marketing campaign was imagine the possibilities of having your photos on your computer. I know I'm old. But the point is, our Taiwanese supplier, we were in all the big, you know, places where you would go buy your computers and all that. I can't even remember what they were. CompUSA, was that one? Yeah, I can't even remember. All those. And yes, Fry's, because Bay Area. And so we had photo scanners. We had photo drives you could put in your tower. That was an old school computer, and you could put things in the tower. And photo scanners, and then big scanners, and then the software. Our Taiwanese supplier started selling our product, took our branding and everything off at cost, and was selling to our retailers. And basically that put us out to business. It's called dumping. It is illegal. However, if you're a startup, even though you're public, you cannot pay the legal bills to take this Taiwanese supplier to court. Even though we had all the protections, and patents and all that, but guess what? That all takes a ton of time, and we were out of business. So what do you do after that? You go, oh, I got some bills to pay. And that's when, frankly, the head of engineering and I went and started Rocket Cash. But I highly recommend that you have a spouse or partner who has a regular paying job with health insurance, 401k, those benefits, because that helps.
Where do you find those? I just asking,
You know,
for a friend.
I think there's some websites.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you could start a company, pay my bills, and merge it with one of the dating websites.
I have thought about like a husband importation business. Like we'd start in the Midwest, and if it worked, we could like go into the European market and like, yeah, I don't know. I'm just thinking.
Yeah. But
Just
by the
thinking.
way, I was sometimes that earner.
Yeah, right.
So I've done both. It's nice. If you have a partner, sometimes you trade off who has the risky job.
Yeah,
That can be nice.
I know. It does depend on who you ask on that one, huh, Carol? It's a household by household. Okay, I know we could ask you questions all night. This has been amazing.
Thank you so
are
much,
a
everybody.
delight. Thanks for being here, Carol.
You bet.
Yeah.